There we go.
There you go. Much better. Sorted, sorted.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. How's things?
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad.
Yeah, all alright.
Yeah, yeah. Well, as
As
good
good
as
as you
can
can be
be.
in these times. Yeah, definitely. I know what you mean.
Yeah, trying to keep busy, like trying to like get some kind of structure with my day and stick to like a schedule. So it hasn't been too bad.
Yeah, that's the one. That's trying to just stay in some sort of routine because
Yeah.
if you're just lounging about all day, not doing much, you just get lost in it.
Yeah, totally not good. I mean, I done that for a couple of days at the start where I was like, okay, I'm totally going to take full advantage of this, but
Yeah.
then you need to get a little bit of a routine together. What about yourself? What are you kind of spending your days doing?
I did the same to be fair. I took the first few days as like, oh, it's a nice bit of fun, like chill out for a bit, just a bit of time to myself and chill and that. And then like very quickly I was like, right, I need everything to go back. I need my gym, I need to train, I need all of that. So yeah, very quickly I was keeping myself occupied with like runs, and the
Mm.
dog I don't think has been walked as much in his life. Like he's out every day, so he's loving it.
What kind of
And
dog have
then
you got?
I've got a white boxer, conveniently,
Oh,
funnily
deadly.
enough. Yeah, no, he's a good boy. So he's been out. We've been on lots of runs and stuff, going out and about, and then just been training in the garden as well. So it's just doing everything that you can, really.
Do you have what kind of a setup have you got at home? Like, do you have a bag? Is it someone you
Yeah.
can train with?
So I didn't initially when everything started, but I had a good friend of mine who does some metal work and stuff. So I got him to make me up like a bag and stuff, or a stand at least for a bracket. And then I dug the hole and sorted everything out myself, and then just and stuck it in. So yeah, I've got a bag for myself and that sorted now. So I'm good. I'm good with that. It's just the heavier weights and things, but everything's just kind of high intensity, like hit work and stuff. But you make do. It's good. Everything's working out well. So
That's good. That's good. So, like, obviously, this has kind of thrown everyone like a spanner in the works, and like fights are
mm.
obviously cancelled, events cancelled, and stuff. What had you got planned over the next couple of weeks?
So I think maybe 2 or 3 weeks before like the lockdown came in place, I was scheduled to have my that was going to be my ninth fight
Mm.
for the English heavyweight title. So that was about 2 or 3 weeks. Like I was bang at the end of my camp. Really, I was like raring to go. I was ready and set, and like building up to that point, there was a lot of talk of like, oh, shows may be cancelled and stuff. But I was like, fingers crossed. Like hopefully, maybe I'll just get over the line, and
Mm.
then
Yeah.
everything will kind of shut down and everything in quarantine that will kick in. But nah, about 2 or 3 weeks before, yeah, it all happened. So I was supposed to have that. So that's kind of where I was with everything. So I was supposed to have that title fight, but obviously that hasn't come through.
Like, it's one thing having been scheduled for a fight and it not coming to fruition, but does it make it a little bit more or a lot worse that it was for the title and a vacant title like that, and kind of it was such a big opportunity for you?
Yeah, definitely. And it was the second time around as well because
Mm.
I was originally supposed to fight for it in December, but I got an injury again about 4 weeks this time before the fight date, so I had to pull out of that. So it seems like almost there's a bit of a curse or something to do with me and trying to get this belt. Like it's proven a bit difficult, but
Do you believe in fate?
no, well, I didn't initially, but I believe that you make your own luck. But I don't know if something's not meant to be or something's not going my way at the moment. But yeah, hopefully everything will come back around and we'll get there.
Like, maybe it's building you up to, a sweeter moment where
Mm,
you win it down the line and you're like, oh, those times where it fell apart and now look.
yeah, definitely. I think it's just building it up to make it a better story when I do actually get it, and then I can say like, oh yeah, it went wrong twice, but we got there the third time or however.
Exactly, exactly. I mean, you've had one thing that I've always found very interesting about your career is, you've sort of had an unconventional start, and you
Mm.
started boxing quite late. It was 20, was it?
Yeah, so I started when I was 20, so 5 years ago. That was the first time I ever properly like ever laced up a pair of gloves, ever even like fully stepped foot into a boxing gym. That was the first time ever. Before that, I'd done bits and bobs of training and little bits here and there, but nothing like boxing. I'd done football and other sports and things like that, but nothing, no combat sports or anything like that at all. So yeah, it just kind of. I always say like when I tell people like that, it just seems like one day that first day, like I went into the gym and I just never left. Like I was there every day since, and just fell in love with it.
So when you went into the gym the first day, are you going in being like, okay, I just want to train, I want to learn a new skill, or are you going in being like, I want to fight?
No, initially it was just like a bit of fun. Like it was just a new challenge, something different. Like I played football for a lot of years and I kind of got bored with it. So it was just like something different. And I always enjoyed like pushing my body like physically
Mm-hmm.
as much as boxing does and testing you. Just the training, even away from like sparring and fights and stuff like that. Just the training is mentally and physically draining. So I always enjoyed that. So that was a pull for me. Like that was something I wanted to do, which I was good with. But yeah, and then it just progressed over time, really. Like I had my first white collar fight, and then I just like fell more and more in love with it, just more as the training went on, and just seeing myself improve very slowly, but over time,
Mm.
getting a bit better, getting a bit better. It just hooked me.
It's like, because when you think of, white collar fights, you think about people who have just got from the couch, and
Yeah,
have trained for like 6 weeks, and that it's a night out for all the lads to
yeah,
like have
yeah,
a load
yeah,
of points
definitely.
and stuff. You know what I mean? And to think about you starting at white collar and having these massive fights and being up for a vacant title as well. It's just incredible in 5 years.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's something I really want to try and like promote and change the image a bit of white collar. That there's always a bit of a bad drag when it comes to white collar, and like you say, like they think a lot of people just turn up, just haven't trained at all.
Mm-hmm.
They've just rocked up on the night and just think they're gonna have a scrap. And don't get me wrong, there's events like that. There's places like that. There's people that do that. But I'm here to try and show as well, and that you can come from that area and you can actually make something of yourself. You can do something with it if you want to. Like if you want to put the effort in, if you want to put the work in, there are avenues you can go down that you can make something out of it.
Absolutely. Did anyone say to you that you shouldn't fight when you started? Was anyone like, you're too old?
No, no, to be fair, that's one thing I've been quite fortunate with. No one's ever been particularly like discouraging at all. The
Mm,
only the only thing that I got was that when I did initially turn over to turn pro, that a lot of people around me said it was too soon,
mm.
based off me starting very late. And then by the time I turned pro, I think I'd only had about 2 years worth of boxing like experience as a whole. So that was the only thing that maybe people like said negatively. But even then, it's not. It was more advice. It wasn't particularly negatively like. And even if I in the ideal world, I would have had more time. I would have been able to prepare longer. I would have had more time to train and not go pro like so quickly and stuff.
Mm.
But I just made the decision that sometimes you just have to take the opportunities in front of you, whether it may be a bit too soon. You just got to think on your feet and kind of learn on your feet like that, and just and roll with it. So that was what I did.
Do you have to, at kind of your level, sort of block out what the critics are saying, or just not even maybe critics, but people who have an opinion of your career? Is it hard to, have that sort of surrounding where people have an opinion like you went pro too soon, you're up, you're up for a vacant heavyweight title after 8 fights?
Mm.
How do you deal with that sort of knowing that people speak about you and that you're up for discussion, I suppose?
I think it's something, especially in boxing, that you have to learn to just take in a stride. You have to know
Mm-hmm.
that these comments are going to come from anyone and everyone. Like especially in this day and age where everything's online, everything's on social
Mm-hmm.
media, everything can be seen, everything's got a comment section. Everyone, without even thinking, anyone can say anything to you, and that can hit you, and you can choose to deal with that however you want. But like a lot of the stuff like that has come my way hasn't been particularly negative, and whenever I've had negative comments and stuff, that's nothing to me. Like them people that say those things, they don't know me, they don't know how much I've trained, they don't know the work I've put in, where I've been, and all the effort I've put through to get where
Mm-hmm.
I am. So I don't mind it. I'm at peace with it because I know no matter what you do, someone's got something to say. I could go on an undefeated run of 50 wins or whatever, and still someone would say, "Oh yeah, well, there was that one fight where he almost didn't do or whatever." So it's just part of the game. That's all.
Does the undefeated tag, does that put a pressure on you, a certain pressure? that, you know, you go into every fight knowing that potentially your undefeated streak can go, or is that just not something that you would think about?
Yeah, definitely. It's an added pressure. Most definitely, it's an added pressure. Just because with that, when like you ever speak to someone or you say you're a boxer or something, they ask like, "Oh, so have you lost any? Have you won? How many have you won?" Like that's one of the first questions that they ask. So there's always that big
Yeah,
attachment of like, "Oh, have you lost yet, or have you won them all? And how have you won? Have you knocked them all out?" And there's all a bit more to it. So yeah, there is that extra pressure to it that if you lose that it might be like it will affect your career quite heavily and things like that. But I think you are seeing a bit of a turning point with that, with losses and stuff, not destroying careers so completely. Whereas there was a point in time where they kind of did, where if you lost, you was thrown to the complete bottom of the pile and you had to build up again. But you're seeing the people with quite a few losses just coming back and making big statements like Chisora. He's got quite a few losses on his record, but he's doing big things and could be in line for a world title shot if the Usyk fight comes off and he gets past him. So it's a different time now, which is good.
absolutely. Obviously, Dillian Whyte has been a very, what appears to be a very influential character, or played a very important role in your career to
Massively.
date. How is it frustrating that, like, when you do interviews, that you'll be referenced to Dillian and you'll be asked about it, and do you kind of take it in your stride, and or do you just kind of go with the process of knowing that eventually you won't be asked about that, you'll be after making your own statements, you know, in boxing, and
Mm.
you'll kind of leave the shadows of being sort of like Dillian Whyte's protege?
No, that's fine. I don't mind it at all. It's because without that, a lot of people wouldn't know my name in the first
Hmm.
place. So I don't mind that being the initial question because at least you now know who I am, and now you'll go look at me a bit more, and then you'll get your own interest actually about me, not so much of me just being attached to Dillian Whyte, which is something I'm ever thankful for. I'm not against that in any way. I love that
Hmm.
he took me on and brought me in and made me part of the team and all of that. So no, even when the questions come and stuff, like I don't mind at all. It's all part of it. Like that connection has helped me like massively to get to where I am, to put me in the positions that I am, to get me on the shows and stuff that I'm on, that I fight on and stuff. So no, that's something I'll always be grateful for.
What do you think he saw in you? You know, what made you different? Because obviously he's sparred so many different guys along the way. He's would have seen so many different up and coming boxers. Why do you think you were someone that was a little bit different?
I think from like speaking to him and bits and bobs, like he always said that he just saw like the same dog in me that was in him when he was coming up, and he was going through it and trying to push through that alongside with a bit of skill that he says he thinks I have and stuff. That he just saw that like the first few times obviously we ever met was through sparring and stuff, and I was
Hmm.
working a job at the same time, and he was telling me that he needed me for sparring, and I was doing anything I could to get there. I was swapping shifts, doing double shifts the night before, just so I could get the days and the times to go there and spar, and just like I was doing anything I could to just get there because I wanted that experience and I loved being around that type of life. So
Mm.
yeah, I think he understood that. He knew like the work I was putting in. He'd tell me he needed sparring and I'd be there. Like I wouldn't miss anything, and the sparring sessions I'd be full in. I'd put everything in him. I'd give it to him and push him through those sessions. So yeah, I think he saw a lot of that in me, that just like you can have skill and you can have talent, but if you haven't got the willing and the work rate and everything to go with it, then it's going to go wasted. So I think before everything else, that's what he saw, that just someone who wanted this.
You know, when you reference in that time when obviously you're still in work and you're, you know, trying to get to the sparring sessions, and there's, I suppose, an element of, you know, struggle
Mm.
somewhere in it. What's your mindset at that time? Like, are you thinking, you know, this is all going to pay off? Are you thinking, you know, I can't do both? Like, where is your head at that time?
Yeah, it is. You have to, like I've always said, like you have to put the blinders on and you just have to
Mm.
go forward. Like you just have to, like, yeah, this is where I am now. But if I keep going, if I keep pushing, if I keep making the effort, I will be where I want to be. Um, I always say like it's just a matter of blind faith. Like it doesn't matter like where you are right now, as long as you know your goal and as long as you push and as you keep going and you keep working, you will get there. And that was how I felt at those times where I was running around between working and sparring and trying to train and manage it all. Is that, yeah, cool, it's like this now, and it's, don't get me wrong, like it's hard and it takes a lot out of you, but eventually you will get to where you want to be, and I'm fortunate enough now to be in a prime position.
I remember hearing an interview of yours before about the time that you obviously got the opportunity to spar with Usyk and you got to
Mm,
travel, you went on your own. And the one thing that kind of struck me about that whole time period is the way that you spoke about, being given the opportunity and one just being like, yeah, 100%, so I'm on my way, and going on your own and, being relatively young and
mm.
experiencing new experiences and stuff that might be, a little bit nerve wracking for some people.
Yeah, definitely.
How was that experience for you?
That was like a crazy time for me. That was like when I got that message through and that confirmation and like that word, that was the point where I was like, right now, like we're all in now.
Mm.
Like, because I was still working at that point, but I needed 3 or 4 weeks off to go spar with Usyk, and they weren't able to give me that time off. So I was like, this is it. This is the point. I need to,
Pack it
like,
in.
yeah, I'm quitting the job. I'm going. So no matter what. So I quit the job, and I took the plane to Ukraine, and it was the best thing ever. Like, don't get me wrong, like it was weird and it was crazy, and I was like, what am I doing? Like, how am I just here on my own in Ukraine? Just like, it was my first time ever doing like an away sparring camp like that as well. So
Yeah.
I didn't know how it worked. I was in a foreign country where no one really spoke the language. Even Usyk and his team, like they do speak a bit of English, but it's a bit broken and stuff. So the communication's not like particularly fluent and that. So it was all
Yeah.
a very like alien feeling the whole way through. But like sometimes you just need to throw yourself in and just learn how to swim, kind of thing. Throw yourself in the deep end and just learn how to swim and figure it out on the job. And that's what I think I've done with a lot of my career, is that when calls have come for like things that are a bit like scary or a bit daunting, you just say yes, and you close your eyes and you get there and you just get stuck in and you do what you can do, and hopefully that works out and you come out good on the other end. And so far I've done well.
Is that you? Is that your character? Have you always
Mm,
been like that?
yeah, if it relates to obviously what I want and what I want to do,
Hmm.
like with boxing, especially with boxing, it's literally just if there's a big opportunity, like give it to me. I get that, like, comes back to when I even started out, like first started. Yeah, it's a bit too soon, but give me the opportunity. I'll do the rest. You give me that, I'll do everything else. I'll put the work in. I'll do the hustle. I'll do it all. Just put the opportunity in front of me, and I will take it. That's my mentality throughout all of this.
Do you think that's what people, your fans and the boxing community, do you think that's why your career has sort of just been on an uphill slant, is because people recognize about that about you?
Yeah, yeah. I think so. I think it's just that a lot of people do recognize the work I put in, the amount I train, and how like I'm going away in different places. Like I'll say yes to any opportunity because it's a new experience. It's something
Hmm.
different. It's something I haven't done before. It's an opportunity to learn from someone else and who's like there's pretty much everyone in this game's got more experience than me. So there's no one I should really say no to. There's no one I should ever shy away from and say, oh no, I don't want to do that because I could learn so much potentially. So that's how I've always viewed it, anyways.
Who have you learned the most from?
Um, Probably Dylan, but
Mm.
that's probably down to us spending so much time together and us having a bit more of a more personal relationship where like there's sessions where he'll tear into me and like I'll be sparring someone else or he'll just be there and he'll be screaming at me and giving me instructions and like it can be it can be overwhelming, but like that's how him and us and how we all do it. Like
Mm.
there's a few of us that are all together, and whenever we're sparring, we're all putting it on each other, and we're putting the work in on each other. But it's all comes from love. Like we just want you to be better. We want to see you do better. Like there's things you can see from on the outside of the ring that you can't see on the inside and things. And then
Hmm.
when it comes to the slower stuff, me and him just working through some bits. He'll give me little key pointers and stuff, even down to like diet and training and when to step it up and when to slow it down. Like just any question I have, he's got the answer to because he's done it already. So that's why it's like I'm so thankful and lucky as well to have someone like that right next to me.
Absolutely. What's been the best or the most impactful advice that you've been given inside or outside of the ring?
Um, the best or most impactful, probably just like everyone that I've like spoken to, like when I've got to like big shows and stuff, and like it was like my first time doing like the big fights on like matching cards and things like that. Like when people knew I was the new guy kind of thing, though, all they said to me was just enjoy your moment. Like
Mm.
just in like don't put all that hard work in, all that training, all that effort to get to the moment, to the bit you've worked towards, and then be in too much of a panic or too much of a bit of a frenzy to work yourself up and not actually enjoy the moment because it's all over so quick.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've done it a few times now, and like fight week is it seems like an absolute whirlwind at the beginning. There's like press conference, the weigh in, the workout, all of those bits, and then the fight night, and then you wake up on like the Sunday and it's all over, and you're just like,
Yeah.
hang on, like, I was just in the middle of all of this. Like you've trained for like 10 weeks and everything, and then it's all just so quickly and so suddenly so over. So that was probably the biggest advice that I've been given, and that whenever people ask me, that's what I say to them. I say, just enjoy your moment. Like this is what all of your training's been about. This is what everything's been for.
Mm.
Just obviously do your job, but enjoy it while you're there.
Do you know, it's funny that you say that because it's something that I always wonder, even myself, just from a media perspective, in, being around whatever kind of job that you're doing, whether it's like, covering fight camp or the lead up to it. And then obviously you have the events, there's the weigh-ins, like everything that goes with it, like you said. And
Mm.
then it is that Sunday, in the hotel when everyone's packing up their stuff and they're
Yeah,
leaving and you're like, what now? Like
yeah. You're
you're looking
literally
at
just
your
like, hang on,
diary,
what
like,
was I just
when's
like?
yeah, when's the next show? Like, when am I going again? You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
I can't imagine what it's like for you guys.
yeah. It's because like all the built up anticipation, like it's all
Mm.
it's all working to that one moment, and then you're in it, and then you do it, and then it's over, and you're just like you're left stopped for a second, like, hang on, wait, what do I do? What do I do now? Like, what's going on?
So how do you beat the dip? Is there a kind of like an anticlimax afterwards? And how do you get yourself back regulated back into just normal life again?
That's the thing. Like when you end of a training camp and stuff, like them first few days, you're like, what did I used to do with my time? Like, what did I used to do for like fun and all of that stuff? So yeah, I always like after a camp, I always give myself a few days of just nothing, just to chill, just enjoy some like family time and just like
Hmm.
do whatever I want to do in that. But then I'll get back to the gym probably the week after, like relatively quickly, just because I've learned from like the early days of when I used to have my fights and stuff, I'd go missing for a few weeks at a time, and it would affect me like my training and stuff, and getting back in would be like twice as hard. So I don't do that. I don't do that now. I try and let myself into, even if I'm just going to the gym to do some really easy stuff. As long as I'm there,
Yeah.
as long as I'm doing something, there's some sort of routine. Then yeah, that's how I try and do it.
And where would you have gone when you said that you've been gone for a couple of weeks? Would you have been partying? Would it have been just like, I don't want to train? What way did you
It
kind
would have
of?
been a mix of
Mm-hmm.
everything, like because there's so much that you don't do and you restrict yourself from like when you're in the middle of a camp, that you don't go out, you don't see your friends as much, you don't eat like the bad foods and
Mm-hmm.
all of that. So when you do finally get to the end of it, you do overindulge a bit, but I tried like in the initial stages I did, like I say, I did those things, and then I found out very quickly that just it just does something to you, that like you almost start from zero all over again, and it's just
Yes.
not. And it's the hardest thing to like know, because the last time you was in the gym, I was in like peak performance, and then I go missing for a few weeks, and I go back, and I'm like, hang on, who was that guy that used to be here to be able to do that and lift this? And so yeah, I've learned from those mistakes at least.
Well, listen, at least you learn from him. And
Yeah,
that is.
yeah, definitely.
So I always give people that are watching the opportunity to ask some questions.
Hmm?
So I'm going to go in. I've seen them here. They're going in. So I'll have a little
No
look and
worries, no
see.
worries.
Lee Eaton has said, very proud of how far you've come in such a short amount of time. Very talented.
Thank you, Lee. Thank you.
Lee has also asked, who's the best looking man in boxing from Ipswich? Do not lie and say yourself.
He's a funny man, Lee. He's a good
He's
guy. He's
very
a
funny.
good
It's his
guy.
birthday today as well.
Today, is it?
Yeah, yeah,
Happy
yeah.
birthday, Lee.
He's
Happy birthday, man.
52.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
he's not. He's not at all. Um, Daniel 2310 has asked, over the next year, what opponents do you want to see yourself face?
Over the next year, what opponents? It's always been like quite a question for me. Like a lot of people do ask me who I want to fight and stuff, and I've
Mm-hmm.
never really looked at anyone in particular, like and said, "Oh, I want you. I'm hunting you. I'm chasing you." I've always just said like I want belts, and whoever has them at the time or is aiming at the same time as me, then fine, we can go for it.
Mm-hmm.
But I know very on the beginning of the year, a lot of people were talking about like me and Dave Allen later down the line for like a British title and things like that, which me and Dave both said we'd welcome, like not in a bad way at all. We know each other half well and said
Mm-hmm.
like yeah, it'd be a fight we'd both be game for. Um,
It's
so
one that a lot
yeah,
of people have called for, haven't they? A lot of the boxing fans have said that they'd like to see that.
yeah. It's something that there's been talks about, and a lot of people have said they wanted to see. And I've done rounds like sparring and stuff with Dave, not so many, but we know each other half well. So,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a lot of mutual respect there between us. So we both think it'd be a good fight, and if it comes off later down the line, then yeah, we'd both be game.
Good stuff. Right, let me go back in here and have a look. There's loads of people saying just how that they love watching you fight and that they're really impressed with how far along you've come and your inspiration. Um,
Appreciate it. Thank you, people.
Major Man 91 has asked, who's the who hits the hardest in sparring?
Who hits the hardest in sparring? Who hits the hardest? Probably the hardest I've been hit by in like a single punch would uh would probably be Daniel Dubois in a single punch. Like me and him, when I started out, me and him used to do quite a few rounds. So maybe I was very novice and he just hit me clean a lot, and I felt it a lot more then. But that's probably one of the times that I can remember being hit the hardest was in the early days of when me and him just spar quite a few years ago.
Well, rather you than me getting hit off Daniel
Yeah,
Dubois, that's for sure.
yeah.
um, D Cooper 95 has asked, could we see a Portman Road venue after your English heavyweight fight?
Yeah. So Portman Road, obviously, the Ipswich Town, the football team here, that's their stadium. So yeah, that's something I've spoke about. Like you're seeing a lot more in boxing, there being stadium fights and outdoor events and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, if there was a fight that had the big enough capacity to fill it, and there was the opportunity to do that, that's something I'd love to do. Like I'd love to bring boxing back to Ipswich. Like we did
Mm.
one show here, and it was a sellout, an indoor show, and it was the first boxing show in Ipswich for about 20 years, and that was something that I wanted to do for Ipswich and everyone that supported me, just because they'd always been on the road with me traveling and stuff, and I wanted to bring one home for everyone, which we managed to pull off, which was good. So yeah, definitely, I'd love to have one at Portman Road somewhere down the line.
Yeah, the iconic moment, right?
Yeah, it'd be massive.
Um, Shania McAllister has asked if you could quarantine, or if you had to quarantine with 5 people, who would it be?
Quarantine with 5 people. Uh, The Rock, because that'd be fun. Someone good to train with as well.
Yeah,
Um, Kevin Hart as well. I'm probably funny.
yeah,
Who else would I have in there? Who else? Are we saying dead or alive? What?
yeah. You can pick dead or alive.
Just
Yeah,
anyone. Just anyone.
yeah.
I'd put Roy Jones Jr. in there as well, definitely. That would be someone I'd love to spend a lot of time with and just pick his brains. Two more Drake. Put Drake in there as well.
Yeah, get the tunes
Quite
going.
interesting. Yeah, get the
Yeah.
music going. Who else? Who else? One last one. I'm not sure for my last one, to be honest. No, probably those. I'll say I'm the fifth. Them four and me. That'll be five.
That's a good dinner table there. There's
That's a
some
good
good,
mix. That's a
yeah,
good
good
mix.
conversations happening there for sure. Um, Sean Turley has asked, who would win, AJ or Fury? Fabio Wardley, the future heavyweight number one.
Cheers, Sean. I've always picked Fury,
Mm-hmm.
and that's not to take anything away from Joshua at all. We all have our own opinions on how things would work out and how they play out.
Mm-hmm.
I've always picked Fury just because I feel like he'd be too just awkward and unorthodox and just off-putting in general in the ring. And I'm not sure Joshua would have the full range of skills to deal with him completely like that. Like I was impressed with Joshua's last performance that he showed like he can get to a baseline like boxing ability, stick to a game plan and things like that. But just something with Fury is just so unorthodox and so out there that
Mm-hmm.
you'd have to. There's so much for you to contend with, and I don't know if Joshua has that range there yet. But it'd still be a great fight regardless.
Absolutely, definitely. Okay, we'll take one more. Kaylee 23 has asked, do you ever get scared before a fight and when?
No, not scared. Like, 'cause again, it goes back to like enjoying the night and the whole
Mm-hmm.
build up and everything like that. I don't get scared. I get like I don't know what the word for it is really, where like almost I guess anxious almost like
Mm.
because the build up is so long and it takes like the camp is so long and the week and everything and everyone's talking about the fight and talking about the fight. And then those leading days where you're there, you're like, I just want it like now, like just get me in the ring kind of thing. So that's the only kind of thing that I get like a bit agitated that I want it like now I'm here, like let's go, like let's get it going. So but yeah, not particularly scared, no. I just enjoy it.
I'll add on to that question. Where does the relief come in? You know, where does the moment of, I can't believe, like the joy of the win settle
The
in? Is it in the ring? Is it in the changing rooms? Is it a
It's
couple
the
of days
change
later?
rooms after. It's the change
Yeah.
rooms after. Once I like walk into the change room, my team will be walking behind me, and then like that door will close, and then it's like as collectively as a group, we all just breathe out like a big sigh of like ah, like
Yeah.
another one done. We did well. Like this, that went well, whatever. So yeah, as a team collectively, that's when that like everything that weight feels like it comes off your shoulders, kind of thing. Of like ah, yeah, we've done it. Good.
Well, listen, many more of those nights to come, right?
Yeah, hopefully, hopefully.
Well, listen, thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. It's been good.
No problem. Yeah, great chat. And hopefully see you soon. Hopefully
Definitely.
get to do a post-fight interview when you lift heavyweight title.
Yeah, definitely.
Whenever we get back to have an event. But
Yeah,
yeah, thank you very much. Really appreciate it, and look forward to seeing you again this year.
no worries. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for
See
having
you
me.
later, Fabio.
See you
Thanks.
later. Bye bye.
Bye.